Lee's styles of love. So this is what we're going to be chatting about today. So last time we talked about Sternberg's triangular theory of love, and today we're going to talk about Lee's theory of love. So basically, in this theory, um, love comes in primary and secondary colors, if you will. So the primary forms of love, Eros, Storge, and Ludos. Okay, those are the primary forms. And then those can combine, much like our primary colors, to mania, agape, and pragma. So I'm going to go through each of these very briefly, just so you have a bit of an idea of what this means. So primary, we start with Eros, which is passionate love. People like this tend to fall in love quickly. Um, in my younger years, I have been, known to do that. We fall hard and fast. It's basically what that is. Um, it involves a lot of extensive disclosure. So again, we're intensifying our relationship very quickly. I'm disclosing a lot of information to you. And it it can be a very fun relationship. It's new, it's exciting, but at the same time, it is hard to maintain that passion for sustained periods of time. So, like I said previously, passion, though awesome, not the most stable or controllable. You can do things to try and sustain that passion. So, for example, showing affection, hugging, kissing, squeezing someone's butt out in public that and have consent. Um, okay, so Eros, that's the first one. That's passionate love. Then we have storge love, which is companionate love. Aw, yay, companions. So here there are higher levels of intimacy and commitment than levels of passion. That's not to say passion is completely out of the picture, but intimacy and commitment are the top priorities, if you will. With this, the focus is shared activities, spending time together. Um, they don't do a lot of secret tests like we talked about previously. So, um, trying out new labels in public. So, if I was hanging with my friend and I was like, I want to know how they feel about me, and I used the term, this is my best friend. That kind of stuff doesn't happen in this sort of love. So advantages to this, typically stable. So again, commitment is something you make a cognitive choice to stay in that relationship. And intimacy, you can decide how much you disclose and what to disclose. But a potential disadvantage, is that it can get boring. This is really stable, but really boring. So if we bring that back to what we learned previously in this semester and look at relational dialectics theory, novelty versus predictability, this is a tension that we see in this sort of love. So storage love, companionate love. Our last of our primary colors of love, ludus, which is game playing love. I always think of, songs that are like, there's this really old song that probably none of you have ever heard. And it's like, the game of love, 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 la 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 love, the game of love, baby. Uh, yeah, I did that. That's what I think of, obviously, when I think of this type of love. So love is a game. You're not necessarily committed to the relationship. It's supposed to be fun and enjoyable, playful, casual. So again, that commitment factor is not there. Um, But again, since this is game playing, lots of secret tests. Lots of secret tests are present here. And interestingly, even though it's not a serious commitment, there's a lot of game playing with controlling behaviors. So kind of pushing the limits to see how much can I control? What can I get away with? Um, an advantage of this sort of love is that it can be fun. It can be challenging for people not looking for commitment. If you're looking for commitment, this is not the ideal. But the disadvantage, because it's challenging, lots of games are being played, is that it's uncertainty provoking. So if we look at our theories around uncertainty, typically people are uncomfortable with it, they don't care for it, and it increases their anxiety. So if you are not about this type of love, avoid at all costs. Okay, so once more, primary colors of love: Eros, Storge, and Ludos. Okay, awesome, groovy. So now we have the blending of our colors of love. So mania, agape, and pragma. So mania combines the passion of Eros and the games of Ludus love styles. So it's a mix of positive and negative communication. And this is reflecting in the passion and the gameplay. So I'm gonna, as one might say, you're hot, then you're cold, you're yes, then you're no, you're in, then you're out, you're up, then you're down. I'm not gonna do the rest of the song, but you know what I'm saying? So there's positives and negatives regarding communication behaviors. There are also people with mania love style, which typically you hear the word manic and you're like, oh, that's not great. But they are extremely affectionate, but also jealous and controlling. So beware of that. If you tend to be a little, jealous and possessive, so let's try to reframe how we look at our relationship with our partners. So, I don't like to say I'm jealous, that I'm territorial. That's still problematic, but if you know you're a jealous person, try and acknowledge that and have an open conversation if your relational partner is going to be receptive to that. Okay, so advantages, again, this can be fun, this can be exciting, but disadvantages: the possessive side of this is off-putting and can ultimately push people away. So mania combines the passion of Eros and the games of Ludos. Okay, cool. Moving on. Agape. Oh, this is unselfish love. So this is what we think of when we say unconditional love. There's the I'm like making sure I cover everything. The passion of Eros, okay? So we got our passionate component plus the compatibility of storgic love. Storge just sounds Greek, whatever. So it combines passion and compatibility. And there's a lot of modes of intensification. So high disclosure, engaging activities together, all of those fun things, with low levels of secret tests. So again, this is unconditional love. The condition isn't contingent upon, do you label me as your best friend or your partner or your whatever. There's love there. This is also characterized, which makes sense, with a lot of social support. So again, unconditional love that you give someone. Uh, Obviously, an advantage is if you are receiving this, there's a lot of validation in who you are. You have a great support system. Um, it can be problematic though if it's one-sided. And so we see some people who are givers and they give and give and give and give and give and then receive nothing or very little in return. And that's a throwback to equity theory, right? Yeah, inequitable relationships. Um, like what I did there. It's like a real conversation. Um, Sorry, it's fine. But this is a love that we're sort of, I don't want to say brainwashed, but conditioned into thinking is the best sort of love. However, that's not always the case. So my one partner that I dated, that was, like I say, I don't like to say my abusive ex, but that one. He vandalized his ex-girlfriend's car on multiple occasions on his way to come see me. And I had that ridiculous notion to stand by your man and like support him through all of that. But I should have booked it. I should have booked it because that's indicative of something that he may do to me. But that is the complicated nature of emotional and psychological abuse. Agape! It's terrible. It's fine. Okay, so agape, unselfish love. Then we have pragma, and this is practical love. So it's the compatibility of the storgic type of love and the initial low levels of commitment of ludos. So some people like to characterize this as shopping list love. So you have a checklist, you have things that you are looking for. If the person does not meet everything on your checklist, they're out. This makes me think of Jessica the Messica from Love is Blind, because she wanted a partner. The whole premise of the show is that you bond over an emotional connection, and then that, hopefully sustains the relationship. But she wanted someone who was her age, or at least not 10 years younger. She also preferred tall men. I personally think she preferred Anglo men, but that's just my interpretation of that. And the person that she emotionally connected with was from Mexico, not the tallest dude, didn't 10 years younger, like all of these things that weren't on her list. And so before even giving that a chance to really go anywhere, she dismissed it and was like, she was just a Jessica the Messica. That was the best line of the show. But so they're looking for certain things: height, age, financial status, all of those sorts of things. Advantage, it's practical. I mean, if you need someone who makes decent money, like, you're gonna look for someone who makes decent money and secure the lifestyle that you want. But also there's a compatibility component there, so that's not the superficial component there. But the disadvantages of this love style is that you might dismiss someone who would actually make a great partner simply because they are not on your list. Or they don't fit the mold that you thought you should have. Sometimes what we think we need and what we actually need are different. So once more, with passion, no. Primary style of love with Lee's styles of love, Eros, Storge, and Ludos. and then our blending of our primary types of love, mania, agape, and pragma. So that was a brief lesson on Lee's styles of love. I hope you found it educational.